Hey guys, it's Wishlyst, also known as Wish on the Beat. We are coming up on the anniversary of the launch of my lo-fi project, Wish on the Beat, so I thought it would be a cool time to do a video, talk about all the music that I released this year, how I got into lo-fi, and all that kind of stuff. I've been releasing music as Wishlyst since late 2017, and everything under Wishlyst has been songs with vocals, so I decided when I wanted to do a project that was just going to be beats and instrumental that it would be under a different name, because kind of the people who want to chill and vibe out to beats that don't have vocals is sometimes a different audience than the people who want to listen to songs that they can sing along to. So it made sense to do another project, and it's been really cool to see how Wish on the Beat has actually influenced Wishlyst over the last year. I launched Wish on the Beat with just some instrumentals from Wishlyst songs, so I took the vocals out and released just the instrumentals to kind of get the project going. But then at the very beginning of 2020, I really wanted to dive into lo-fi as a genre and start making lo-fi beats. I had sort of been exposed to lo-fi on the periphery. My brother runs the label Game Chops. They have a lot of lo-fi video game music, but I didn't really know that much about it, so it was super cool for me to just kind of like dive in, listen to the music. I'd actually heard the most lo-fi from listening to subliminal videos on YouTube. If you don't know what those are, they're kind of crazy videos that have subliminal messages, positive subliminal messages, but a lot of them do use lo-fi beats. So that was actually my first kind of like exposure to them just on my own. But it was really cool. I was kind of like into the idea of this genre that, for one, has chill hip-hop beats. I've always loved hip-hop. I like more down-tempo kind of music, so I loved that, you know, the drum feel of lo-fi for the most part instantly. And then getting used to all the kind of cool factors of lo-fi, which is like, you know, effects, sounds, vinyl noise, just kind of additional sound layers on top of the music. So when I kind of started diving into making lo-fi, I was just so surprised at what a natural fit it was for me as a producer and as a writer. Guitar is one of my primary instruments, and so is cello, and so I started with guitar because that kind of is the easiest and simplest thing for making music when you're starting out. So I made these kind of like acoustic chord progressions over these lo-fi drum beats and kind of started to build it out from there. But right away I found that my cello, because it's also sort of in that low mellow kind of range, was a great fit for lo-fi, so I started adding cello into a lot of my lo-fi beats. I have this really cool analog synth that's a bass synth, but I've even used it sometimes for lower melodies and stuff like that to add also just that sort of analog, more natural feel to my beats. It's been an exploration of the style this year. I've released, at the filming of this video, 14 tracks as Wish on the Beat, and I also did one feature with my good friend Coffee Date, who also makes lo-fi, but I've mostly just been doing solo music as Wish on the Beat, and I've really kind of gotten into the style, and so now I'm super excited for my upcoming releases and seeing where they're gonna go. When I started Wish on the Beat, the Wishlyst sound was more synthy and kind of trap beats and stuff like that, and I kind of discovered over time, as I was using more kind of like lo-fi drum hip-hop kind of loops and stuff like that, because I do use a lot of loops for my drums, that so many of them suited the Wishlyst songs really well, and I was starting to incorporate more guitar into Wishlyst, so it was cool to sort of bring a lo-fi sound to Wishlyst, and now Wishlyst is kind of making like lo-fi bedroom pop, which has been a great fit for me. For my mix downs and my production style, I've just found that lo-fi is just a genre that clicks with me naturally, works really well in my flow, and that my instruments that I already play work really well in lo-fi too. Lo-fi is a very broad term if you're not familiar with it, and it's a huge genre, so it doesn't all sound like one thing. I would say there's kind of two branches of lo-fi, which is that there's the more jazz-influenced piano sounding lo-fi, which I love and I definitely vibe to, but I am not really a jazz composer of any kind, so I don't really write music like that. My lo-fi is more kind of like acoustic, almost like acoustic rock, folk-leaning lo-fi, but still with those same kind of hip-hop drums and lo-fi sound. The fun thing about releasing beats is there are just a lot more places out there to have instrumental beats. Like there are so many study playlists or chill playlists, stuff like that. So I've been really happy to see the success of Wish on the Beat and see the music really take off and click with so many people, especially because I was basically learning the genre as I was starting to work on these beats. It's just so cool that it clicked with so many people and that people enjoyed it. Basically, the framework that I would use to make my lo-fi beats is I would kind of know my BPM range, And I would often start with just like a drum loop or something that kind of just set like a feel, and then I would take out my guitar, and I do have some live streams on the channel of me writing beats on stream so you can see my process, but typically I start with a loop that I feel like I like, a drum loop, and I do some light mixing on it just to give it the right sound. I always, even though I do use loops for a lot of my drums, I never leave them unadulterated. I'm always mixing them. Sometimes I'm repitching them, cutting them up. So I'm not just pasting loops on top of my compositions, but I do like to use loops because drums, I would say, is my weakest area in composition because I play instruments and I do mix downs and stuff like that. So writing drum parts, I like to use a loop to get me started, and then I'll play guitar chords over that loop until I kind of set a vibe that I like. And then I'll start doing melodies on top of that. So I've come up with a really great flow for making these beats too, because I've cranked out so many of them this year. Like I said, I released 14 as of now, and I do have one more coming out before the end of 2020, and I've got a bunch scheduled already for next year too. I did not have super high expectations when launching the project, so I will definitely say that in this year of the first year of Wish on the Beat, it's definitely exceeded my expectations. My most popular track is called Wish You Were Here. It was released in March, and I just, other than calling it lo-fi, I would never know how to genre label that beat. I was writing totally free, just trying things. I just felt very like open when I made that song, and I was like, I don't know what this is, but it's cool. I put some cello in it, you know, it's a nice vibe. And the song really took off, and it did well within Spotify, so it's now past 200,000 streams this year, and I'm so grateful for that because it's an original beat, and I wasn't really trying to do anything. I just was experimenting, and it clicked with people, which is really cool. And then I ended up just recently using that instrumental for Wishlyst because I decided to put some vocals over it and do a Kanye cover of Runaway, and that just came out fairly recently and has been picked up by Spotify editorial playlists, which is so great. What I really like about lo-fi, besides just the vibes and listening to it and the aesthetic, is that a lot of the people who make lo-fi are super chill, which of course, you know, suits the music, but it's just a very like non-pretentious way to produce music because, you know, little imperfections in the recording process or things that are not super clean are kind of a part of the whole vibe. And even in all of my recordings, including Wish You Were Here, which is the track that performs so well, there's all sorts of little details in the recording that are not perfect, certainly not the way you would do it like in a studio with a proper engineer, but it kind of goes to show that in the style, that sort of polished perfection is not necessarily what you're going for, and that's kind of cool too, to just be free of those constraints. I'm really excited with everything that I learned making lo-fi this year, and I'm going to be incorporating my electric guitar into some of my beats starting next year, which is going to be cool. It's mostly been just all acoustic and cello up to now, so bringing the electric guitar I think is going to even change things up a little more, obviously still keeping the chill vibes, but just with a different sound. In addition to all the original beats that I made, I also put out a few video game remixes in a lo-fi style, which was super fun for me. I'm kind of like a casual gamer. I love Nintendo games I would have played as a kid or preteen. Like, those are still my favorite games now. I don't play anything that's like super immersive that requires like tons and tons of hours, because I would rather spend those hours in front of Ableton making my beats or practicing my instruments, but I do try to play games when I can. Animal Crossing is one of my favorite games. Of course, I'm wearing an Animal Crossing theme shirt right now. But in addition to singing as Isabelle in an Animal Crossing themed song, which I have another video about, I also remixed the museum music from Animal Crossing in a lo-fi style for Wish on the Beat. I also remixed a song from Undertale, which is one of my favorite games, and another Animal Crossing song. So in addition to mostly original beats, I do put out some lo-fi video game covers as Wish on the Beat too, and I plan to continue that also. So thanks to everybody who's listened to my lo-fi beats, especially on Spotify this year. It's been such a boost for me, and seeing how much you guys like it has really shown me, you know, what to continue, and has, like I said, even influenced the sound of Wishlyst this past year. So I feel like I'm really closing in on my sound now, which is this sort of like lo-fi chill vibe, acoustic sound, but still with those hip hop drums. So it's been a really great year of music for me. I'm gonna drop links to all the music that you can check out. I was releasing singles as Wish on the Beat, but I did compile a batch of them from this year into an album called Chapter 1. So that has a lot of my beats just right there in the album. And then as I release more singles going into next year, I'll then release Chapter 2 as a compilation with the next set of beats, and I plan to just keep rolling out these instrumental beats alongside the Wishlyst song releases. So thank you guys for the support. If you found me from Wish on the Beat, let me know, or let me know your favorite Wish on the Beat track. It's just been so cool to get into lo-fi this year, and I definitely plan to stay for a long time. So happy birthday, Wish on the Beat. I'm glad to now have 2 personas. It's been really cool becoming a lo-fi producer this year, and I'm looking forward to all the new lo-fi I'm gonna make in the coming year too. Thanks for all the support, guys. I have a couple more things coming out before the end of the year, so make sure you're following both Wishlyst and Wish on the Beat on Spotify to keep up with my music. It does all get uploaded to YouTube here too, but Spotify is a great way to help me, especially saving the songs to your library, saving them to playlists. That lets Spotify know that you're enjoying the song and therefore pushes it out to more people on Spotify Radio and Discover and other playlists, so it's a huge help whenever you save my music. Thanks, guys. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe. If there's something you would want to see or hear about with my lo-fi beat production or any kind of music production stuff, questions, anything like that, throw it in the comments. I'm going to be checking all of them and just making tons of new content. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.